Hey, look at that. We're back and I have audio.
Damn, you sound good.
Way better than last week. My apologies for that, and everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Chuckwagons, brought to you by Limelight Audio and Media, along with Cinch Oilfield Hauling and, 40 Below Projects. What the hell? They are great people there. Sounded good, didn't it?
Yeah, it rolled right off your tongue.
It's good. I didn't even ask you beforehand. You and I usually talk about this. Do you have a story for us this week from
I do, yeah. It's
from your adventure
story. It's another Cheyenne Frontier Day story. They just wrapped up here and crowned all the champions on Sunday. So,
story time with Ray, brought to you by Highwood Distillers. We found some Highwood Distillers last week, didn't we?
I was, yeah. You had a little drop off for me, so thank you for that. Yeah, thank
exactly.
You for the Highwood boys, absolutely. Yeah, so
let's hear it.
Wanted to talk about some good memories and some, cool things that we got to do when we were kids. And one was, travel down to Cheyenne. And it was funny how Cheyenne, we were kind of like, Chuckwagons was kind of a warm-up show for the concerts they have. So every night it's like Toby Keith, Brooks and Dunn, Garth Brooks, like all the
just
big,
a bunch of nobodies.
Just the big names, right? So anyhow, where the barns were situated was kind of right. It was just off the fourth turn, and the stage was always right there in the paddock where we come on the track. So we were able to, stand outside of the tour buses once in a while and get some autographs. And you got to meet Brooks and Dunn. They were sitting on the stage watching the Chuckwagons, and there was also another little roping, King Ropes. I think they're out of Sheridan, Wyoming, but they're pretty famous rope brand, and they had a trailer set up just about 100 yards from the barn. So us kids would always go to the rope trailer, and we'd be testing out ropes and roping the dummies.
I bet you were.
Yeah, we got to meet Reba McEntire, and then one of my favorite was, I was probably 9 years old, and there was a Coors Light van, and they had taps on the side of the van, so the kegs were inside. And anyways, we were walking by, and George Strait is standing there filling up a cup off the side of this van, and he turned around and he had 2 cups of beer in his hand, one in each hand there, and he's like, this is how we do it in Texas. So anyways, it's just kind of a fun memory, places you get to travel and people you get to meet, and at a childhood lifestyle, it's pretty cool, all the miles you got to make and places you got to go. So that's my story. It's pretty basic, but yeah.
Hey, it's a good story, and it's great to hear about those things and knowing what happens in the Chuckwagon world and the traveling you do up and down the road, and just to watch the kids go out and have fun is great. But it's time to move on and bring in. We can call him. We have a big guest this week.
Yeah,
big guest, BJ Carey. Yeah,
you bet, yeah.
Here he comes. Watch, blink. Look.
Hey guys.
Hey BJ.
He's got the headset on. That's great.
Yeah,
I'm about to get flipped, I think. Here, you watch. Yeah, there we go.
He's more equipped for this game.
That way you get to be on top of things. Oh yeah, he's got it made. BJ does. How's it going, BJ?
Pretty good. Yeah, sitting at the lake, just relaxing.
Yeah, life's tough. You get done, a race weekend, head to the lake. We make it sound good, but how was the weekend? How'd things go?
Last weekend, we snuck in the dash there in Frog Lake in the third, and I was injured, so I hurt my thumb loading horses to go to Frog Lake Wednesday, and so Jamie drove the main hook, and Chris Flanagan drove the non-point hook, and then Lane Turney steered both outfits on Sunday, and just didn't quite turn hard enough to get out in front of Jamie in the dash, and couldn't get to the rail to tuck in behind, but come running at the end, and we were third in the dash. So
yeah,
it was.
Well, it was. I watched it on Facebook, and they're both outfits fired and turned. They couldn't have turned any harder, to be honest. Like, they look like they're really rotating, and Jamie's kind of been on fire, and just having that inside track, that's what it took, right? So tough.
Yeah, it comes down to a barrel draw.
Yeah. Yeah, and hoping somebody might stub their toe, but in that case, it never happened.
Yeah. No, those outfits.
No,
All three
I'd
of
be
them.
remiss.
Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Those
No, go
outfits.
ahead.
Brad
Talk about your
McMahon was
outfit.
in there. Brad McMahon was in there too, and I mean, he's a threat. He comes running, and if he's inside, he's going to start in turn two. So, I mean, all three of the outfits that were in that dash are solid, and nobody's really bobbled at near the top in the last little while here. Everybody has their eye on the prize, and it's been pretty good. I think actually the first two nights in Frog Lake there wasn't even a barrel knockdown, so it was pretty good.
Now, what sort of an injury do you have that's keeping you out? Like, we talking a concussion, a shoulder, broken leg?
No, it's a thumb. I was loading horses on Wednesday morning. I got a cabinet in my liner, and to close the first gate, you got to push the cabinet against the wall. And I've done it 5 times this year, and well, probably 10 times I guess loading to leave as well. And it felt like it was I hit a funny bone basically, and I got to Frog Lake and we set up, and I left and went to work, and I went to bed Wednesday night and woke up Thursday morning and my thumb was like a cucumber. So I went for an X-ray Thursday around noon, and the joint, the top knuckle joint, they X-rayed and it's all cloudy. So basically, they said broke, dislocated, or a bruise. And Friday, I went back to work and I lifted a box and it popped. So it felt quite a bit better, but it's just tender to touch. And I've been wearing a brace every day, and I actually just took the brace off before we come on here and flexing it a bit. It actually feels quite a bit better than it did this morning. So I go back to the doctor Thursday, and they'll have a look, and I guess they'll either clear me or I'll be on the fence another week, I guess. So we'll see.
Yeah. Talk about what it feels like to sit and watch your.
Now, how do you go about picking?
What's that? Sorry? Both you guys are going there.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to ask, how do you go about when you show up and you're already set up at the race? How do you go about picking out who's going to drive for you?
So in the CPCA, we have the start of the year, you put in 5 drivers' names, and you can pick any one of those 5 to drive, or you can get somebody out of the sidelines like a Ray or like Jess Willard, or just a couple names that come to mind. They got to do their medical, and then they can come in and run for you. So my 5 guys, I have Lane Tournier, Chris Flanagan, Danny Ringette, Dallas Dick, and Jamie Lavican are the 5 that I chose. And I tried picking guys that drive similar to my style and that are used to the same type of horses, so that they could hopefully get the job done that I can do.
I'll jump in here. How's it feel sitting on the sidelines watching your outfits have been pretty dominant and really rotating all season, and then you got to sit and just cross your fingers and hope that the guy who jumps in can do as good a job as you?
It's tough. I mean, you put all that work into it, and then somebody else is driving that outfit. It's tough to watch. I mean, the one outfit that I have is fairly tough to drive. The short barrel outfit's fairly tough to drive, and if you can time it right, you won't get a piece of paper between that barrel and your hubs. That wheel team really pushes them around. So they're that one especially. I know that lots of guys can drive as well, but they aren't used to those horses, and they just don't know when to turn them. And Lane Tournier drove them on Sunday, and he come back and says, "Boy, both those outfits are nice. Anybody would love to have either one of them." Not very often you have 8 horses like that. Lots of time you have 6. So, I mean, it's tough watching. You wish you're out there, but yeah, I'd rather have somebody healthy driving than cause a wreck or hurt somebody or hurt something. So yeah. It's the shits for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Now, times like this, obviously you're injured. That's when I'm going to say family, your burn crew, that type of support comes into play. Why don't you talk a little bit about, the family, family dynamic you have in chuckwagon racing, and a little bit about the support they give you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of chuckwagon racing. As both you guys know, you've been down the trail, and Kim, well, she's the secretary of the association, so we don't have her around the barn a whole bunch as she has her job there. But still, there's support there, and then my kids, Mitchell's basically trained everything all spring. Because I bought a business in Glassland, so I've basically been there on the weekends to drive, and he's truck trained and doctored, and lots of phone calls, lots of texts asking what to do in different scenarios. Lyndon, he's there as well. He has a full-time job though, so I mean he's there in the evenings and the mornings and weekends. He's there. My daughter Shay, she actually videos for the CPCA, so she, mornings during the week she helps out. She gets her hands right in there, not afraid to do any of it. I got Bodie Dugan. This will be his second year, I guess, working for us, and he could basically do anything down there as well. He wants to outride one day, and he's built like a little jockey, so he can jump.
Yeah,
He's
he's
fairly
built 30.
athletic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'll make a good one.
yeah, and I threw him on. We put him on a horse this spring, and he was running away before he even got to the track. He needs a little more upper body strength, but and some experience. Some experience more would be better. I was never an outrider and don't have the experience to give him. So yeah, if there's somebody around there, we got Caden Wagner, another young guy. He just started at the NECC and um, kind of timid yet, but he's getting there and he's there and he tries hard and he's a kid that has never been around horses, so it's kind of neat to see how they progress as they come in with the horses. Um, Shay's got a friend. I'm bad with names. Her parents own Diamond Seven Meats, uh, and she's been there just about every morning through school and everything, because they were only going every second day, so she'd be there to help in the mornings with chores and then the weekends. Um, and then my uncle
About,
Fudd and Auntie Gail.
sorry, finish up.
My uncle Fudd and Auntie Gail, they travel every weekend, and we call Uncle Fudd the outriding coordinator. He looks after the outriding horses, wraps them in saddles, and makes sure they're all ready to go. And they travel with us every weekend as well. So Jen Pete, she was my barn hand for 6 years. She had a summertime love a couple of years ago and had a baby, so she's around. She's around a little bit. She's been at a couple shows and she comes and helps out. It's tough for her to stay away, so she's
Yeah,
but yeah, she's a huge part of it as well. So
cool. Talk about what kids being born and raised in the sport and kind of what they get from it, the work ethic and the understanding
yeah,
for the animal.
yeah, like Mitchell. So Mitchell was born in '02, in July '02, and I think he was 3 days old, and we were driving to the Calgary Stampede, and actually a story, listening to Ray's story to begin with there. Uh, we were new parents and driving down. We just got onto number two. No, sorry, we were between Wetaskiwin and number two, and he needed his diaper changed, and Kim was changing his diaper on the council, and we uh, we were on the wrong side of the road, and we looked up, and it was one of those things that like, oh shit, lucky there's nobody coming. But I mean, you're going down the road, and he was in the bar. He was in the barns at 3 days old in Calgary, so um, he was in it right from day one, and you learn that you have to look after things and responsibility and care of the animals, and it takes hard work. And if you don't work, you don't have success. If you don't look after them, you don't have success. So, all three of my kids were raised in it, and well, Shay's 14, and she's been in it for all 14 years. Mitchell and Lyndon, well, they were with their grandpa and with Brian prior to me starting in '07. So I mean, they saw it and they love it. It's something that gets in your blood, and you don't want to miss out. And
Yeah.
there's a fun part to it, there's the hard work part of it, and then the responsibility part of it, and it all goes together. So it's an addicting thing.
Tell me about it.
Now, do you see either one? Do you see either one of your kids jumping into the wagon box?
Well, Mitchell probably would, if he got the opportunity to. Mitchell's thing is he's 18, or 19, I guess, sorry, and he has other priorities on his mind, and he has some growing up to do before he can get in there. He's 19 and he's probably 15 at heart because he wants to have fun, and he that's just
He's
the way
haywire.
it is, and
Yep.
he's haywire. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I get it. We were never 18 or 19 and like that, so I don't totally understand. But yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Heard about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Read about it in a book.
Yeah.
What about some of your sponsors? Because you've had some long-term sponsors over the years. Why don't you talk about them?
Yeah,
And the
probably
importance of them.
well, any sponsor is important. It's big or small. You need all of them to get down the road. And I mean, I've had lots of sponsors over the years, but there's one that I've had right from the start, actually, and that's Crude Master Transportation out of Lloydminster, Heath and Tracy McDonald. The year I started, they sponsored me, and they're still sponsoring me to this day. He's bought all my fuel every year, and he's also given me a nice check every year to go down the road. So yeah, he's been since 07. 15 years he's sponsored, and not a blink of an eye when I go in there. He's like, yeah, we're in. There's no two ways about it. And when I was in Calgary, when we were in Calgary and I was selling days off individually, he was all over those as well. So I mean, this with him, he's just a supporter of the sport and a supporter of the Western heritage. He supports all the rodeo around Lloyd and everything of Western heritage. So he was huge. Tirecraft and Lloydminster Bart, he's been sponsoring me for 5-6 years. CDR Inspections in Lloyd, this is the second year they've sponsored, but they love the sport, and whenever every chance they get, they're down there. Some other ones that are long term. Oh, jeez. I've had so many. So Aztec Safety sponsored me for a couple of years. Another one that every year is Triton Tools and Northwell Rentals. They buy me in Lloyd for the last 3 years, and they go together buying it. And the reason they do is because they have similar customers, and they bring them down. And there's nights there that they have there's 60 to 80 people down there, and oil field customers and rig guys, and you name it, it's down there, and they schmooze them, and they get a pile of work out of it. So they really enjoy that. But
that's I still firmly believe that's your bang for your buck if you're going to do some hosting and get the guys back in behind the barns and let them, see the horses and their kids feed the horses and have a few drinks and interact. That's nice to see the tarp on the track, but being back in the barns is the cherry on top, right?
100%. And you said it there, the kids. When you get the kids back there, that gets the parents hooked. They're asking when they can go back. So, I mean, even if they aren't sponsoring, I invite them back, because, I mean, those kids the horses are like a therapy for those kids. They relaxes them, and whether they need it or not.
Yeah, so. Yep. I agree. Talk about what kind of conditions are brought on when the summers are hot and as dry as they are, and the little things that you deal with that, people wouldn't really think about, affecting a racehorse or affecting, your crew and things like that.
With how dry and hot it is right now, like probably the biggest thing is nosebleeds. Probably the biggest thing, and just keeping the horses cool. And it's like a human. If you overheat, your nose bleeds, and that's probably the biggest thing this summer. And the reason is because it's so dry, I think, and the dust. And so I use lots of Vicks in their nose and try keeping their noses clean and their heads cleaned out. And that was probably the biggest thing early on. And since I started doing that, haven't really had that issue. And the other thing is just keeping them clean, and any little nicks or anything that they get to try keeping them clean, because it's so dry and dusty. It basically they could get infection as soon as it gets dirty. So lots of water. Even with the crew, lots of water. Convince them to drink more and just keep hydrated and stay as cool as possible. Because I mean, there's been days it's been 33, 34 degrees, and at that temperature, you're gonna get dehydrated and you're gonna be down and out. Same as the horses. So I jug horses, and what I basically do is the same thing as a human, but I'm using, instead of a 1 liter jug, I'm using a 5 liter jug and jugging them into the main vein. And basically I run just a saline jug or a electrolyte jug, and I don't add nothing to it, and just to
it's
give
just
them get
the
their
same
fluids.
as giving a human an IV, right? Just for fluids.
Exactly.
It helps recover, help replenish their system, and you can add some vitamins to it and stuff like that. It really helps an athlete recover when they're performing in kind of extreme weather or temperatures like that.
Yeah, it takes an army to look after these horses. There's so much TLC that goes into them, as you guys know. It's crazy. The other thing I've been doing a lot of is massages, lots of horse massages. Gerard Gladney, Lane Turney has been doing chiropractor work on them lots and keeping everything loose. And that's probably the biggest thing we've done this year, and made sure that everything was hydrated all the time. And
Well, now you've always had a great barn of horses. What do you attribute that success and I guess the longevity of your success to with that?
When I started, Jamie and I started at the same time, and I didn't really have. I mean, Brian helped where he could, but Brian didn't have 40 horses like lots of guys run now. So I did a lot of asking of questions. I did a lot of watching of videos. I took everybody's advice and kind of threw my own way together, and it took me 4 or 5 years to get to where I wanted to be. And I think in year 6, I was high point champion in the CPCA. And so, I mean, with that being said, and then I held on to it for a couple of years, and there was keep horses there. But then, I mean, just looking for the right horse to the track or my style of horse, and lots of guys like big horses. Lots of guys like different things about horses. I like a blockier horse, a quarter horsey looking horse. Size to me isn't huge. It's their heart. If they have a huge heart, to me, that's what's gonna get them to succeed. And that's what I look for. A little bit of bloodline. That's basically, I think, why I've been decently placed, I guess you're gonna call it. And the bloodline for me, a good driving horse. That's what I was looking for with bloodlines. So.
What are some of the bloodlines that kind of pop out when you look through your lineage of horses you have in your barn that really produce good wagon horses?
The mare side, it's called what is it? It's Easy to Believe was the mare. So I got Power, I got Grayson, I got Anito. I think I got 5, and they all are the same horse. They aren't a huge horse. They're a blockier horse. They're about 15.3. They're all different color for some reason. I don't know why, but Porter Boy was another one, and they all give your best trip every day. Like they don't take it off, so they don't take no days off. They're all heart. The other one was Vying Victor. And I think I got 3 of them and same thing. All 3 of them are lead horses. So with that bloodline, and I know, and that bloodline, actually, Doug Irvine is actually the guy that told me about the Vying Victor bloodline. So I've been watching that, and a lot of them are BC bred.
Yeah, actually, I've heard it from him too, but I never did follow bloodlines. I just bought kind of whatever I stumbled across or caught my eye. Yeah, should have paid more attention, I guess.
Oh, you are a beauty, Croteau. You are a beauty. How'd you find your success? Well, I got lucky, I guess. Anyways, what we're going into the rest of the year, BJ, and things are shaping up. How's your barn looking? How's everything? Like, are you just falling into shape the way you want it, or are you ahead, behind? Where do you see yourself right now?
Right now, well, after the first show, I figured I'd be tough after the first show. I knew I didn't know with Logan and Luke coming and Ross Knight coming. I didn't know the first show was going to be the test. That was the way I looked at it. So I didn't really know where I was going to be after the first show, and then running in the dash with Logan and Ryan. I figured, I was on top leaving Pound Maker, and I figured I could be there and stay there. And I had a little bit of bad luck in Onion Lake, and I lost a horse in the first corner, and it dropped me from first to fifth basically in one run. So I'm crawling back up now. I think I'm 47 points out of first. It's like Ray said, a bobble or anything could happen. But I want to get back to that Canadian Championship. I want to be the High Point champion. I think I can get there. I got 3 weekends to do it. 11 point days to do it. So I have my work cut out for me, but it's very possible.
Yep, you're in a good position. I think on a barn side of things, everything's healthy and been rotated and managed good. So every race I've watched, they're cracking out of there and they look fresh and look good.
Yeah, no, they're I guess to finish answering your question, Mike. They are fresh. I have 8 outriding horses that are. I mean, there's a couple there that have some aches and pains, and it's from the hard track. So, I mean, we're going back to Pound Maker, and Pound Maker's track it's got a nice base. There's some cushion to the base. There's not a whole bunch of material on it, but I mean, they'll stand up to it, and I'll rotate them through so that I have 8 going into the finals for sure. And I got 3 outfits there they're all cracking, and I can basically switch a horse out if I have to wherever I need. There's 2 outfits that are really good, and there's a little bit of greenness on that third outfit. So it's basically an outfit that's just it's a play outfit with that first hook and get them going so that there's all 3 of those outfits can go at any time.
Well, and you're always working on your outfits. Let's be honest. You're never going to say, hey, these are my 12 horses, 3 outfits, and that's what I'm running with all year. I think any wagon driver that tells you that is not only lying to you, but himself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like I actually took a left wheeler off the short barrel outfit and threw a new horse in there, and then I was driving on lead in the spring, and he's given me more run, and I took a left leader off as well and put a new left leader in there, and he's given me more run, and he's really coming to his own. So I mean, that outfit is just went from, well, the left leader went from, I guess, a 14 or 15-year-old down to an 8-year-old, and he's got twice the run that the 14, 15-year-old does. So he doesn't have the start, but he has the run, and yeah, it'll be exciting to see here in the next few weeks.
No, for sure. Well, at the end of every night, I try and ask 5 quick questions. Hopefully we get some funny and half intelligent answers because it's fun. So I'm going to start here. Who's the most famous person in your cell phone now? If we were to pick it up and say, wow, BJ's got that guy in his phone.
Oh, the most famous person. I'd probably have to say, probably Pat Maroon.
Well, hey, that works.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good because a couple of guys have said Ray Croteau, so I'm glad for you.
There you go. That's He's brutal. Pretty famous too.
But what's your favorite food? You're not allowed to say sausage because we watched you digest that quickly.
Yeah. I'm a seafood lover, so crab, lobster, that'd be my favorite.
Oh, yeah. And BJ makes a mean seafood spread. Like we had one down in Phoenix there, and wowzers! I ate till I tipped over.
I'll be stopping in Turtle Lake for that. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
We're driving around if we're driving around in the truck with you, what music are we listening to right now?
A satellite radio, and I have her on the highway.
Oh, the highway country. There you
betcha.
go. Which of the tracks that you've been able to race on is your favorite track to go back to, and you can't wait to get there?
Lloyd, I have a thing for Lloyd track. It's forgiving. It's a track that you always have a good wagon race on it. There you could come across the line 4 across, and it's a good track to be racing on.
And the last one, I don't know if you'll do it. Give us your best impression of a celebrity. Whether it's an announcer, a Chuckwagon announcer, a comedian, whoever. Do you do any good impressions?
I can't do an impression. What you got is right
here. You're gonna have to replace that question because everybody says the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not an impression guy. Sorry.
I know you've been impersonating people as you're driving down the road. You don't put on 600-700 kilometers in a day and not pretend you're some singer.
Yeah,
Guaranteed. We all do it.
I don't sing, but I do get road rage.
Oh, well, this has been awesome. It's been great to have you, BJ. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the season. It's going to be a bunch of fun to watch you and keep up. And hopefully at the end of it all, we see that High Point Championship.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, good luck.
Awesome.
BJ.
Well, friends, on behalf of BJ Carey, Ray Croteau, myself, and our sponsors, Limelight Auto and Media, Cinch Oilfield Hauling, and our friends from Highwood Distillers, do us a favor, drink responsibly, drive safe, give your kids a hug. God bless. We'll see you next Tuesday.